Hello and welcome. This is Silverox, and on today's episode, we are going to be building the Nier automata machine lifeform version 2. Now, this is going to be a follow-up to the original machine lifeform I made, which is just the smaller version. This, of course, is the upgraded version that you see on the game. So I'm going to be printing it and building it by myself. Now, before that goes down, I have to give you an update. Until now, all my projects have been set to the same reward tier, to the $2 reward tier. But this week I spent I believe, over 3 days just printing this out, and several more making the rest of the video, assembling it. That's why this video is so late. So from now on, my STL files or my trading printing files are going to be set at a $5 reward tier. So at the end of the month and beginning of the new one or the next one, the reward tiers are going to be changed from the $2 to the $2 and the $5 reward tier. Of course, all my paper crafts are going to be made in the $2 reward tiers, only my STL files will be moved to the new one. So with that said, I hope you enjoy the video. We are going to start by showing a part count of all the pieces we are going to be using. Total, the white pieces are going to be 43 different pieces that you need to print. I won't be showing the printing process because, well, it was too tedious to look at the same thing being printed over and over again. And of course I already printed the previous version of this machine, so during the building process I'm going to skip several parts, and those being the torso and the head, because these two, if I show you next to my previous one, you can see they are identical versions of the torso and the head, because in the game Nier Automata the machines use the same core, they just use different body parts. And here on the table you can see the new pieces are going to be added onto that, and those are the new skirt piece that's going to replace this tiny one right here, the new legs, the hip portion right here in the middle, and of course the arms. In total, this took about 3 to 4 printing days, so that's why this video is coming incredibly late. So I'm gonna put it off to the side, and I'm going to bring only the leg pieces onto the table so you can see. So right here we have what's going to be pretty much the functional leg for our machine lifeform, and I'm going to go over the building process, then I'm going to go over the posability of this thing. But before I go on, I have to state something. This isn't meant to be an action figure. You're not meant to go posing it all over the place, because eventually these joints are going to become very loose. As you can see, every joint is 3D printed. There's no actual additional parts to this, like the steel rods that go through the joints. No, it's all 3D printed plastic, so it will go loose over time. So you can see this is the overview of the leg, and now we are going to be building it out of these pieces. There are total a number of 10 pieces right here, and I'm going to be going step by step and on to making it. First thing first, we're going to grab what's going to be the thigh, and on the side that's this little indent at the front. This is the front of the leg, and if you have the upper leg, you can see that the same piece is right there. That's going to show you how these two align, and we are going to be grabbing the pin that's going to be designated as the knee pin. And oops, I bumped the camera. Yeah, I didn't show you that, but all you do is you shove the pin through, and it holds the leg together, right, just like that. Like I said, this is already getting loose just for me pre-assembling it to test out the full thing. The next thing we're going to be making, assembling the foot and the ankle of the figure. Now the ankle is fully posable. As you can see, I'm going to be adding a pin right here. This one has a hole through it, like that, and that hole is going to be aligning with this pin. But before you put it in, you want to add it to what's going to be the foot of the figure. And the foot I'm using here is a defective one, though I'm using it because I didn't want to reprint a new piece. The one that's going to be on my STL files these parts are actually much thicker, so they are much more secure than this one. So be careful, because these can actually break. So what you're going to do is you're going to align this pin with this hole, and we're going to push it through. And once that is so, you can see that's now a slight ankle tilt and a slight forward and back tilt. So it does have a small bit of possibility. So right here we're going to be the two pieces are going to make the hip joint, and these may seem identical, but I have made a few differences between them. I don't know if you can see here, but this one has slanted corners on the insides, while this one has all flat corners. The other one is, of course, the size of the hole. The smaller side is going to be what's going to attach to the hip, the upper leg, and the larger one is going to be what to attach to this piece, which is going to be the inside of the hip. So to put this together, just grab the larger pin, put it through the larger joint, grab the smaller pin, and you're gonna feed it through the smaller joint and the larger pin all at the same time to form this. Now, of course, we're going to grab our leg, and there's a slot on the back right there where this is going to slot into. Now, a warning: this joint may be a bit too tight at the beginning, so you may need to wiggle this back and forth, and that's why this, this is actually a little dirty up, because I was sanding it so it would fit without any problem at all. So I'm just going to move the camera slightly up for this, and this are our legs. So now what you need to do is grab this piece, and this just slot right in. I've tried this before, and there is no actual problem slotting these in. They just go in without any need for sanding at all. Now next, it's these two pieces. I'm just going to put this on the back. These two pieces are the most overly designed for what they are being used in the figure. Obviously the outside is fine. The problem, I decided it would be a good idea to add these in the bottom, which they are never going to be seen, and they complicate the cleaning process a lot. You can see right there, that's where I should show the screwdriver trying to clean out on the support printing the inside, because in the printing bed they were printed laying down like this, so there was a lot of stuff in it that I had to take out, and I ended up shoving the screwdriver through there. Now these are one of two parts on the entire thing that absolutely need to be glued together, because they will eventually just pop apart, or they could be I will show you right now. There's a way you don't need to be gluing them together, but to put this, it's just going to shove the front end like this, and then you are going to try and rotate this piece around without the hip joints interfering. That's easier said than done, especially because it does want to get out. So we are almost there. So I'm gonna cut when I'm able to get that inside. So I forgot to do something. While you are putting these inside, you want the legs to be facing outwards, because these pieces have a smaller profile on the side than they have on the front. So get these to the side, and the skirt piece actually goes in without any effort at all. And now you just add the front one right on top, and then they both rotate together. And as you can see right there, the seam goes through the middle, and the hip piece, this joint right here on the back, if you can see that, this joint right here on the back, all the two together. That is how you are able to do this without gluing the two halves together, but I will be doing that anyway just for safety. So just setting this back how it was before, we are going to be grabbing this. This is a plastic adhesive. It's not specifically for PLA, it just works very well with what I have, so I'm going to be rotating this right now, and just add it don't need to be a big amount, just enough to hold the entire thing in place. There we go. Close it back up. And all you need to do now is press the two halves together and hold them there for a bit. I'm just going to rotate the hip so that it holds everything together. There we go. So I'm just going to hold this until it's completely dry, and I'm going to be coming back to you in a moment. And as you can see right here, these are the legs fully assembled, so I'm gonna go over their possibility in a moment, but at the end of the video, of course. But right now you can actually see that it does have quite a large stand, well that one did not, so it can use all the poles quite well. So we could just add the torso on top. Let me just remove that. As you can see, this thing already is dwarfing our original machine lifeform. And of course I will place the head so you can see that yes, the head and the torso are completely the same part. So just adding the camera back on the stand. I'm gonna still be removing because while I was I pretty much assemble and disassemble this guy like 4 or 5 times already, and one of the legs is already coming off, so I'm going to strengthen that leg with some duct tape, and I'm going to be moving on to the arms. So now we are going to be assembling the arm, but before we do that, one of the pieces needs to be prepared, so we are just going to be adding a small strip of duct tape right around it, and of course I'm going to be cutting off the excess. There we go, same thing on the back. And this piece is going to be attaching to this one, and that's why it needs the duct tape, because right out of the printing bed this joint was incredibly loose. You can see it right there. That's what holds the entire arm up, because it's just this piece holding on to that one. So right now it does hold it somewhat. I did add more duct tape on that one than I did on this one, because as you can see it still sags quite a bit, so I will, after this video, I'm going over that one with a little bit more duct tape. So we are going to be assembling this. As you can see, this is the fully assembled arm. So to start off, we are going to be grabbing this one, which is the shoulder and the elbow, and this is going to be attaching right there. You can see there's a hole to it, and I've provided the pin, of course, and this pin just fits all the way through. This one is actually very tight. There you go. I am afraid of breaking this, so yeah, it does seem to be fine. But before we go any further, you can see here, this is going to be the shoulder pad. The shoulder pad is actually going to be glued on the lip that I made right there, just like this. So we are going to be doing that, and to do that I'm going to add this back in, going with some glue over the edge right there, the outside edge of course, and I'm going to be pressing these two together just like this, making sure that this is parallel with that. Now since that's duct tape right there, it will not glue onto the duct tape. As you can see, it's still completely free, so I'm just going to leave this piece right to the side here. I'm going to be focusing on this. You can see the molding for the fist. This is a complete piece. You don't need to assemble this. I've printed both fits at the same time, and you just need to do some cleaning for the support structures for the fingers. You can see that if it focuses, you can actually see all the joints that I pre-added into the molding process, and this is going to be fitting directly over that. If you want to know how to align it, just look at the bottom, see the cross shape. There's a longer but thinner pin and a smaller but wider pin. These match with the corresponding holes, and that's what's going to be looking like. So just add a substantial amount of glue, because this piece I'm not very confident that it won't just fly out. So just apply some pressure to it. And there we go. Just the pressure itself is enough to partially hold it in place while we move to the next step. So now we are going to be grabbing this pin, which is the one with the 4 holes on it, and that's going to be attached right there on the elbow. And of course, the lower arm just attaches to that as well. At this point, this is secure enough to just go inside, and then right there we have both arms. So now we are finally going to be touching these pieces. I'm going to be setting this to the side so it doesn't roll off. And as you can see, these just slot right there on the bottom. This slot is completely identical to the one inside there. The only difference is this one I added the pin that could move. This one, the moving part is actually down here. You can see it's actually below the elbow. So that's the only difference. I removed the joint from one place and added it to another. So I'm going to be setting this back to the side here. And this is the second piece that you may want to glue in place, because there is a slight wobble to this, so you may want to glue it. I won't, because this entire surface is going to be glued onto this, because you can see that there's no attachment to it. I didn't make an attachment point, so both of these are going to be glued directly to the bottom part. So to do that, we just add a substantial amount of glue to it. If the tip of the glue stick wasn't dried up, yeah, now it's alright. So you're just gonna add a substantial amount to this. You can actually see it right there. And now, while pressing these two together, I'm going to align the rivet points together and just apply some pressure to them. Wait a second or two, and the glue isn't completely dry, so at least not this one, but applying pressure is enough to hold the entire scene together. So I'm just going to wait for that to dry, and then I'm going to be showing you the full assembly and of course the posability of this entire scene. So our last step is of course adding all of these pieces together. And if you are asking why is it so far back, well, I did ask that myself. This thing turns out to be ridiculously big. This is 24 centimeters tall. I'm going to be showing you as soon as I put the head on. Wait a moment. Balancing is a bit of a problem here, because one of the hips is becoming incredibly loose just from me playing around with it. As you can see, it does not want to stay up on its own, but once assembled, this is roughly, I think, oh, I had the ruler upside down, but this is going to be roughly like this. You can see that. That's 27 centimeters tall. I don't know over the top of my head how much that is in inches, but as you can see, it completely dwarfs our original machine. And this is, I actually really pleased how it ended up being. I wasn't sure how the legs would be proportionate to the arms, because when I assembled it the first time, I didn't put the hands on, so it looked like this. So the arms look really short compared to the legs, but once I assembled this thing, it looks completely amazing. Trust me, this thing, the image you are seeing right now does not make this thing justice. Something else I noticed is this guy. As you can see, the arms on my original one are just as big as the arms I made for this one. So once I had something proportional to compare it to, I found out that these are far too big for this small machine. So maybe in the future I will shorten them or cut them or print a new part completely. So now, if you remember my original one, the posability was actually quite limited. It couldn't move the leg up to the side. The arms were really limited to its posability. So On this one, I made of course some improvements. The one saying the head is still not glued in place, so it can move. Let me show on this one. It can move all around with no problem. Of course, you can tilt this too much, otherwise it will fall off. But working with this one, oh my god, I have to push my arms to the side because this thing is enormous. As you can see, one of my hips is already coming loose, and this is a hip that's making it difficult to pull. So I will probably just add some glue onto that. You can see the pin is actually coming out, so I may put just some glue there and hold it in place. But of course, it does have a hip swivel. It's not glued in place, so it's just a friction hold. Let me take this aside so I can show this better. It does have an elbow rotation. This was the original one that was loose. I have, since I stopped the video, tightened it so it now can hold the about 80 degrees to the front and about an 80 degree completely from side to side to side. Of course, the elbow does rotate, just like this, and it does rotate quite a bit. There's no end swivel, unfortunately, and then there's no swivel to the arm itself. So oh yeah, and I forgot, it does have the side to side motion of the arm, so it does have those. When it comes to the legs, it can move the leg outward just about that, inward about that. I can't move it very far forward because of the skirt. It does eat the skirt, but if you move the leg forward, it can move it. So rotated, it can move slightly more, and of course the rotation to the back is about the same. It does have a knee bend, and it's actually very hard to hold this in a place where you can see, but you can see it does have a knee bend. It does have a side to side motion on the ankle and a forward to back, and that isn't a lot of possibility, but compared to the possibilities of the legs, it does. God damn it, I can't catch this entire screen on camera, but it is able to hold a flat stand with the movement it has on the legs. So I'm just gonna put it just like that, and I'm going to be adding the head back in. And oh my god, this thing is incredibly hard to pose. There we go. I'm going to leave this on this neutral stand because I just can't do much better while recording it. But this was the version 2 of my original machine lifeform. Of course, if you did like the video, leave a like. If you want to get this is on my Patreon. It is going to be the STL files only. I did not make a papercraft version of this because, well, it's far too complicated to make it out of paper. But with that said, please do subscribe, it does help a lot, and I hope you did enjoy the video. Thank you and goodbye.